Hello and welcome back to Avalon. Thank you for joining me here today for our Aries reading. So it's our first ever just Aries sign reading, okay? What we're going to do, I already shuffled, meditated on the cards. I already have a spread going here, which I have not looked at yet. The spread itself will go recent past, physical, emotional, mental space, the near future, and then a longer term outcome. Of course, any future energies are, they can be, any outcomes can be changed, right? So just to be clear, if it's a negative looking outcome, you have all the power in the meantime to change that, okay? I also went ahead and chose 4 extra cards to go through today. I haven't looked at them actually yet, and they are 2 from the Ask Angels deck. Not sure why I had to pull 2, but I did. 1 from the Feather Heart Oracle and 1 from the Fairy Oracle, okay? All of which are stunning cards. We'll go through at the end, and these are the guidance for you in terms of this situation that we're going through, okay? Alrighty then. Might as well get a little Jim Carrey sounding, I suppose. Alright. So on the pre-shuffle, and just on what I've been picking up physically in my body, again, more solar plexus activity. That's been happening for a lot of the signs lately, for a lot of different reasons. Pardon me. The sage is starting to choke me a bit. I'm going to blow it out. Or put it out, I suppose, because you can't really blow it out very well. Don't mind a wee bit of it going, but that was too much. I feel like that didn't help anything. Anyway. What I got off the pre-shuffle is that there is an issue to do with being recognized, to do with the Aries legitimacy. Now, I don't believe that this is all Aries, and I think that only you know if this message applies to you. But certainly somebody watching, it will be a message for you, okay? So what I saw was that an Aries is dealing with an issue of being recognized for their efforts, being recognized in general, and I can't tell as of yet whether or not that's warranted, or because it's a sort of a shadow energy, right? I don't believe that it is, but we'll get there, okay? So let's start with the recent past, okay? All right, recent past, we have the Queen of Wands, okay? Now, the Queen of Wands, she's charismatic, and all eyes are pretty much on her, okay? Wands are fire, the suit of fire, and that is your element, Aries. Aries is a fire sign. It is the youngest fire sign, so there's a lot of intense passion with you guys, right? And the Queen of Wands is somebody who definitely understands intense passion and motivation, drive. She's somebody who draws people to her. She has an ego, but upright. She doesn't let it hinder her life, okay? Upright, she's the sunflower who just simply attracts the sun by being, okay? And only grows in that way. I feel like in the past you understood your sovereignty, you understood motivation, fire, desire. You understood all that. And you felt recognized, okay? Perhaps you felt so recognized for this quality in you, it's almost like you were throned or crowned. And essentially this is you in your element, female or male, exuding that Aryan sort of energy, okay? I also feel like there was something in the past that has kind of crept up on you that you haven't been paying attention to. Possibly because you were so wrapped up in your own light, like your own power, your own successes with your ambition, okay? This could be career. It could be also have to do with passion involved with love, right? A love relationship. But I'm getting that you were on a throne recently, that you felt recognized, okay? In the recent past, you did feel this recognition that I was talking about at the beginning. But there's been a change, okay? So I feel like this isn't your energy anymore. You were very ambitious. You worked hard for something. But there's been a change. And I'm getting the impression that you no longer feel quite so valuable. That's the word I wanted to get to. All right. All right, we're going to move on to the physical, all right? All right. So, for the physical, we got the Four of Pentacles, which is one of my favorite cards. It's not necessarily because of the energy I get from it a lot, but because of the lesson behind the card, okay? The Four of Pentacles is it's all about learning the balance of giving and receiving. It's in many ways it's about the law of attraction, okay? Because the character in this lesson is holding on so tightly to what they have because they feel like they don't have enough. That's the energy that they're then putting out to the universe. That you know, if you only have four pentacles, right, to your name, and you're so afraid of losing them, you're holding on to them so tightly, then your energy is that of being in lack. Your energy is that of not having enough, and that of scrambling to get enough, and holding on far too tightly. Okay. The lesson is to learn that it's only when you begin to give unconditionally, so whether or not you'll necessarily have enough to give, you give unconditionally. And when you are in that energy, you put out into the universe that the energy of being in abundance, right? Because the only time somebody's going to give as much as they possibly can usually is when they have more than they need, when they have so much. So when you are in that energy, you put that vibration out to the universe that you have more than you need, and that's when the universe starts giving you far more than you need, or certainly making sure you have exactly what you need. Okay? What I get from this card for Aries, sorry, I have to do this, driving me bonkers. It's far too much going on here. Smoke. Come on. Go out. Please. This does not want to go out. Give me 1 second. Folks, please. There we go. It's out. Okay. Back to your reading, gorgeous Aries. Little fire, baby. Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm in a bit of a tight squeeze here. So for Aries, I am seeing that your recent past was very comfortable for you because you felt very much, oh gosh, excuse me, in your element. So a lot of solar plexus stuff going on today, which again makes perfect sense. Relates to the sun, fire, power, all right? And that's what we've been, and just recognition, self-worth, okay? I think you felt very worthy recently, but there was a change that crept up on you that you weren't paying attention to. You felt recognized for your efforts. I'm going to say in your career, but it doesn't have to necessarily be that way. So that's the more recent energy. In the physical right now, how that's changed. Let's say this is an energy of abundance, okay? This is an energy of coming from a place of, I've got everything I need. And this is the energy of coming from a place of, oh good gosh, I better hold on as tight as I possibly can because I'm down to my last few shekels, and I can't guarantee that if I give you one, that I'll be able to eat tomorrow, say, okay? So the Aries that I'm connecting with is feeling a lack in their physical right now. They're feeling like they don't have enough, and they're holding on far too tightly to what they do have, okay? I get the impression that part of the reason why they're holding on so tightly is because of how much the change in energy snuck up on them, okay? I also get the feeling, oh, this makes me sad, of an Aries who, although they are surrounded by people, feel very alone at this time, okay? I'm sorry, not poor little Aries, but I feel for you, Aries, what I'm trying to say, okay? Let's move on to the emotional space, the heart space, okay, for this situation, okay? We have the King of Swords in reverse. Upright is what our card looks like, okay? And in reverse, there we go. All right, so the kings are a form of mastery, same with the queens. The queens are all about mastery and understanding a concept, whereas the kings are all about mastery in acting within a concept, okay? So the King of Swords, upright, is a master of logic, all right? They're a master of problems and solutions. They're a master of communication. They're a master of their own mind, all right? And because of this, they not only see clearly, they act from that space. They can often come off a little bit sometimes cold-hearted just because of their detachment from the emotional. But they are definitely the kind of energy who, if necessary, will cut a person or an energy, a situation out of their life in order to improve their lives, okay? And that's how it can kind of come off as a little bit cold, but it isn't necessarily a cold energy. What I'm getting in reverse is an Aries in defeat. An Aries who in the past who has been able to solve problems and solutions, solve problems by coming up with solutions that have impressed others in many ways. I see an Aries who very much feels like his world is turned on its head, okay? I see an Aries whose vision has been clouded in the past, so normally where the King of Swords can see with clarity, with logic. What I see here is that emotionally they're looking back into the past and feeling like there's no logic to what is going on in their physical. If you look at where they were and where they are, to the Aries, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, okay? I'm connecting with an Aries who doesn't understand how they got where they are. An Aries who feels defeated. Okay? But I still get the impression that although this Aries feels defeated, they have a sense of hope for the future, that while they don't understand the past very clearly, they still feel like they can see the future pretty clearly. For the better or for worse, whether or not they're seeing their future correctly is another story. They think they are, or they feel like they can see their future clearly. But as it is, they don't understand how they got where they are. They don't feel like where they were and where they are now makes any sense. Like it doesn't seem like you can go from one to the other, but in like a linear logical projection, or okay, I'm connecting with an Aries who is normally a very logical person and normally deals with things in terms of the mind. So even though, yes, Aries is a fire sign, and fire can relate to passion, emotions, and the heart. This Aries is used to dealing with problems with the mind, and right now they're trying to feel their way out of it, and it's very hard for them. It's very out of their element. They're trying to use logic to understand why they feel the way they feel, and that's not going to work. Sometimes we feel the way we feel without much logic to it. Sometimes we feel the way we feel, and logically we want to not feel that way. All right, let's go on to the mental space of this particular Aries I'm connecting with. We got the Three of Cups in reverse, okay? So traditionally, the Three of Cups has to do generally with like a celebration among friends. I happen to see it often as sort of the third energy that can be biblical in terms of Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, or it can be the third energy in terms of karmic situations. So, you know, you, your partner, and somebody else causing a problem, or you and your boss and a situation. I'm connecting with an Aries who feels no reason to celebrate at this time, or who I'm connecting with an Aries who, in their mental space, is feeling like they are karmically under the wheel, so to speak. So if the Wheel of Fortune has a lot to do with karma, obviously, and when you're at the top of the wheel, your karmic balance, your karmic debt is paid. When you're at the bottom of the wheel, you're paying back that karmic debt. And it seems like I'm connecting with an Aries who mentally feels like they're under this karmic wheel. They think that again, I feel like this Aries believes that they've lost oh, okay. I'm connecting with an Aries who believes that what's happening, this negative downturn of events for them, they believe it actually has nothing to do with them or their partner, but they believe it has to do with a third party. A friend of their partner, another coworker who's you know, told on them to their boss, who then, you know, who then maybe demotes them. So they go from this, you know, regal sort of energy to a lack energy. They don't logically, they're trying to use logic to understand how they got from point A to point B, and they're not getting anywhere, all right? They're not getting anywhere because this is not, because you can't understand through the heart using logic. Logic is a tool of the mind, and it's not that it's a bad thing, it has its place, right? But trying to look at what has happened through the lens of the mind and not through the lens of the heart, or at least a combination of the two, is not working. And they just do not see how they got where they got unless somebody else has been influencing the other in this reading. Okay, so they believe that like a coworker has said something to their boss that screwed things up for them, or they believe that like a family member or a friend said something to their partner and got them in trouble, and now they're scrambling just to hold on. They feel very defeated, and they understand that they're under the karmic wheel right now, but they don't understand why. And certainly they feel like there's no reason to celebrate. All right, we're going to move on now to the near future energies, okay? Yeah. Okay. Now, it's funny that I started this reading saying that even if the outcome cards appear negative or appear to be, you know, less positive cards, they are not fixed. Pardon me, they're not fixed. Okay, so that means that like anything, even just watching this reading, can change the outcome of these cards for you, because it can bring something up that you didn't realize that leads you to act differently. And although I do believe that we have I do believe in fate and destiny, that we have a certain destiny, but I also believe that we have free will, and I get that most people find that paradoxical, but I feel that it's not. You can have a fate that God picked out for you, that the universe picked out for you, that you picked out for yourself. And still, throughout your journey, you can decide to follow that destiny or not. And you know, when you decide not to, you create a new destiny, and you can choose to follow that one or not. And it goes on and on and on, right? So anyway, the point was that I started this reading off saying, if the outcome cards aren't great, just remember that can always be changed. And you are the God of your own universe, really. I mean, we are not gods, but we are the gods of our own universe, in that we have full ability to choose exactly where we go and how we deal with any situation in front of us, okay? So, the near future card I got was, or you got, Aries, was the Ten of Swords. I know it's a scary looking card. Don't freak out. You're not going to be murdered or anything scary looking like this, or stabbed a bunch of times. The card itself is an ending to, at the traditional meaning, there are many, but the traditional meaning is an end to tens are endings and beginnings, okay? But it is an end to the feeling of betrayal, okay? I get that this Aries watching this is, or that in Aries watching this, and you'll know if this message is for you, that you have very much, I mean, it's again, confirmation, just the rest of the reading, what we've been getting, that you felt betrayed, all right? I just said this with the karmic stuff, okay? You feel like a coworker went behind your back and talked to you about you to your boss, or you feel like, you know, a family member or a friend or something said something to your partner about you, and ultimately their words have hurt you, and you feel like it was done behind your back, like you feel like something went on behind your back, verbally, mentally, that has come up and kind of bit you on the bum, all right? Again, this is that karmic situation. We're going to take that as confirmation that that's right, especially since it's an Aries fire reading, right? Another meaning for this card is self-victimization, okay? And well, I think that for some of you watching, you were, you know, actually betrayed. Betrayed by a third party in some way, but for some of you, I'm seeing that you think you were, and the reality is that you actually weren't, that you are making yourself the victim of it because you're not willing to take on your responsibility for your part in how things fell apart, okay? and that's what I'm getting more, is that it's a self-victimization energy, and that it's like it's making yourself the victim, right? Because you don't see that you had a role to play in how things went down, right? And that self-victimization isn't helping you at all. It's kind of pinning you down into, pinning you in the lower chakras, pinning you in that survival mode, that fear and anger, right? Um, all right. Yeah, all right. That's all I'm getting for this right now. There are some of you who will be feeling betrayed by this karmic situation. Excuse me. And it's making you doubt your value, your inherent value. Don't forget that you do have an inherent value. Like, we all are valuable, okay? And no matter whether or not you had a role to play in how this fell apart, it doesn't matter. You're still valuable. Nothing that any karmic person can say to you can change the fact that you're a human soul who's valuable, right? I think it would be wise for those of you who are feeling, or who are going to be feeling like victims, actually, I'm going to stop there with that. Let's move on to the longer term outcome card, okay? Right. We got the Two of Swords. All right, a lot of mental energy here today, a lot of truth, a lot of problems and solutions in that sword energy. Okay, so long-term future outcome here for Aries. There's an Aries who has to make a decision, and they think they don't know what they're going to do, but they do. You may be feeling, once you come out of this betrayal or self-victimization, excuse me, what you might be feeling once you come out of this energy, you're going to have to make a decision at that time about what direction to go in, all right? And you think that you don't know what to do about it or what decision to make, but you actually do. You already know. But you're not going to figure out which direction to go in by using your vision, by using your mind, all right? You can spend all day having a verbal conflict in your own mind with yourself without coming to a comfortable solution of where you're going to go next in life with this dynamic, what you're going to do, okay? You can spend all day long arguing with your own mind, but if you actually just tune into how you feel about it, how do you feel about, okay, so if there are two options, instead of thinking like, okay, so logically, if I do this option, then this happens, blah, blah, blah. If I do this option, then this happens. Well, instead, do the same thing, but tune into how you feel. So if you've got two options to go with, say it's either leave your job because your boss has demoted you because you've got a terrible coworker who just hates you and talks about you behind your back and has stabbed you in the back. You've got two decisions. You've got to decide, or a decision. You've got two choices. Do I stay here and defend myself, and possibly have to get some dirty work done when it comes to this karmic person, or do I leave and hope that the situation doesn't come up again in a new environment? So if you have those two situations, instead of like logically going, well, if I do this, then I have to do this, with your mind, they want you to consider your two options and feel into them, okay? So imagine, literally visualize, going back to work with this dynamic. How does it make you feel? Do you feel tight in the chest, tight in the stomach? Do you feel sudden release of stress hormones? Do you feel, or do you feel happy? Do you feel excited? Do you feel like there's an opportunity to make the dynamic, the relationships better? Or tune into your visualization of what it would be like to leave, what it would be like to try a new job. Tune into that. How does it make you feel? This card is about using your intuition to solve a problem instead of using your mind, because our mind is easily tricked, but our intuition is not. Okay? So ultimately, this reading is all about the legitimacy, the value that an Aries is feeling. I'm connecting, excuse me, again, that's that like solar plexus chakra activity, which is again just confirming for me that this is about value, okay? No, I can hear, sorry if you can hear that, it's my boyfriend playing music. All right, so it's about an Aries who felt like they were in a wonderful position of being valued until recently, okay? Something snuck up and changed the dynamic entirely. This could be work again, like I said, or emotional or romantic. Right now, in the physical, the Aries is holding on to whatever that they can hold on to. They're holding on to whatever that they can hold on to because the change has, like a Jenga tower, it's like somebody took out that really important self value block, or like, the block that says that you are a legitimate person. They pulled it out and the tower is going, whoa, everywhere. Emotionally, this Aries is trying to use their mind to understand an emotional situation, and it's making it very difficult for them. Trying to impose logic on an emotional situation and their emotional history with somebody, whether it's a boss or a partner, or what have you, is only making them more confused and feel more defeated. This Aries feels like, or believes, that currently this Aries is believing, is thinking that is the emotional involvement of another person who has created this situation for them. And I mean, that makes sense if it was a coworker who did something, you know, who said something because they were really pissed at you, or, you know, and then the outcome for this Aries is that they're feeling betrayed. They're feeling betrayed. And for a separate set of Aries, it's they're going through an energy, they will be going through an energy of self-victimization. So going through this energy of woe is me, but it's going to end, okay? It's not a lingering energy, it's not a forever energy by any shape of the imagination, okay? Or any stretch of the imagination. We're going from a sense of betrayal and or self-victimization into a period of mental conflict, okay, having to make a decision, mental conflict, yes, but that is ultimately totally navigatable, you know what I mean? You can navigate your way out of it, okay? But it'll be by tuning into your intuition, not by trying to impose the logic of the mind on an issue of the heart, okay? Now let's get quickly, I'm just going to have a double check at the time. We're still going. Holy moly! These are always a lot longer than I intended. All right, quickly. Let's do this angel, Ask Angel card. Okay. We get a year from now. A year from now. A year from now. All right, in terms of guidance, I'm seeing this as the guidance to keep that long sight, that long vision, okay? Because while you're in this temporary energy of betrayal or being a victim, whether you've created the situation or not, kind of the betrayal is, you know, somebody else created the situation, and self-victimization is you kind of created the situation, okay? This is only a temporary energy. And although I think it will dissipate far sooner than a year from now, I think that a year from now is when you need to set your sights for, okay? Often when we go, okay, when we're going through something emotional and difficult, we often try and just go, okay, well, next week I want to feel better, or tomorrow I want to feel better, and it's not necessarily realistic. Sometimes these energies take a while to dissipate. I think a year from now you're going to be in an entirely different place, just like really recently you were in an entirely different place, okay? Okay, let me move on to more guidance here with the Featherheart Oracle. And here we have, I speak with sincerity. Beautiful, beautiful card, okay? They're all beautiful cards. The guidance here, there's a lot of guidance here. First and foremost, the most basic is to speak with sincerity, obviously. That if we hope to engage honestly with other people, we have to engage honestly with them. We have to be sincere when we speak. There's a lot of swords energy here, which has to do with communication, so it's important as well. That we communicate with sincerity, not just with others, but with ourselves, okay? You can spend all the time you want trying to understand what's going on with yourself emotionally by using logic, but it's not going to do much. When we tune into our intuition, as opposed to trying to understand what's going on through the mind, we're a lot more likely to come up with a sincere, honest answer than when we use our mind, because our mind is prone to distortions, and it's prone to separating things into us and them, separating things into duality, okay? Whereas the heart is better at understanding things as a whole, as one, okay? The guidance here is to speak. What I get is that you're not necessarily being sincere with yourself in terms of understanding the situation emotionally. You're also being asked to think with sincerity, okay? Circles represent the divine mind, all right? And so I like to think that this is also about the sort of law of attraction, in the sense that, like, hold on just one moment. Okay. All right. Speaking with sincerity. This is how you will be able to navigate your way out of this situation, this conflict, this dynamic, okay? From you know, the King of Swords in reverse in the emotional space to this Ten of Swords here. It's all about communicating. It's all about communicating with your intuition and your emotions. So, sorry about that. Let's try that again. So I speak with sincerity. First of all, obviously having to do with treating the people in this situation with respect and honesty. Also about speaking with a light touch, okay? A feather heart. Using a feather heart when it comes to your communication. Excuse me. I think it's really important when dealing with either your boss or this coworker or your partner that you're conflicting with. I think it's really important that you speak honestly and sincerely, as we've said, but not from, okay. As this issue has sort of all been surrounding this sense of value, right? That there was this immense feeling and understanding of your place and value that changed very suddenly and kind of flipped your life on its head and has left you feeling crushed under the karmic wheel, betrayed, like a victim, okay? What I'm getting off this card is that it's important that you don't let this wound, what's going on around your feeling of value, okay, what's going on, going from this place of high value recognition to a place of lack and lack of recognition, that when you converse with either this karmic person, your boss, or your partner, that you be mindful of the wound that you're experiencing around your value, okay? It's possible growing up you had a deep core wound around this. Maybe you never felt like a valuable part. Don't let this core wound, if you have a core wound in the area of recognition, self-value of the self, be careful when conversing with the people in this dynamic that you don't read more into their actions and words because of this hurt, this area of pain, this wound, okay? Because it can only serve to pull you deeper into those energies. All right. In terms of, yeah, okay. All right, so we've got, for the Fairy Oracle guidance, we have Epona's Wild Daughter, okay? Now, this is sort of the Scorpio card. That's the sort of death, rebirth energy. It's also the card of the mental sort of disturbance, insomnia, nightmares, looking back at the past, all right? It can be likened to the Nine of Swords in the tarot, which is a very heavy, mentally dense energy. Well, we actually got this card in reverse, all right? Which sort of changes the energy, okay? So instead of the guidance here is obviously not to stare into the past and lament, but to use what's going on in this dynamic to understand yourself better and to see a better possible future for yourself, okay? To use what is going on now wisely, okay? Because you can use what's going on now and stare head on into the past, trying to figure out what happened and get more and more depressed, or you can look forward and try and figure out from this, you know, what's been going on, tuning into your intuition, into that water realm, into, which is all this energy of the Scorpio card, right? Tune into your emotions around it, and it will actually help guide you forward, okay? This is actually a very wise card, especially when it's sort of inverted like that. All right. They also want to remind you that this might be an ending for some of you, yes, but it's also a beginning, okay? All right, thank you so much for tuning in today. And I apologize for all the interruptions. We'll have to kind of edit this together a bit mishmashy. But thank you for tuning in, for sticking with me, and I hope that this helps. The Aries, it was meant to help. Even if it's just one of you, it was 100% worth it. Thank you again, and please join me again in Avalon.